When Mike Tyson was at his peak, remember, he couldn't get people to fight him. The minimum was running around, I don't know if this was this was before Rogan Snipes, I believe, but they said $10 million to get in the ring with him. I'll get in the fucking ring with him for $10 million. We'll see just how fucking tough the little shit is. Absence of evidence, but I've been beat pretty good before. You know, I know what it is to be knocked out. You know, I know a bar stool cracked over my head. So that's not such a scare to me, you know? And for $10 million, right here. Right here, you know, you got one shot right here, and I'm out, the fight's over, because I'd have my accountants and everybody there collecting the money first to make sure the money was there, but right here. But that scares the kids. Again, because you're slow, for you to get all the teaching points, it's easier just for me to tell you the fucking teaching points. 1, default's a motherfucker. He is now the second person that has told you default's a motherfucker. All 11 others are going to tell you default's a motherfucker. That's where you fail. You go back, and I got an email from see, I don't use my phone. My phone's never on. My phone's not set up to send emails. I know you can do that. I got an email on my machine from a guy at a wedding that he went away for a wedding. I forget, somebody important in his family got married, and he says, I'm sick to my stomach being here. You were right, Mr. Pena, I should have never come. Day wasted getting there. It's a 3-day event, 3 days, and another day wasted coming home. And he said, I'm so depressed I can't even have a drink. Default's a bitch. Number 2, he met all his board members face to face, mano a mano. That's more old time guys, but some of the young guys do it too. It's not the same. Skype and Zoom fucking all this, and I know there's other than Skype and Zoom, but it's not the same. It's not the same. In a Skype call, you can't tell if the guy's nervous and his legs twitching like this. You can't tell any of that. Eyeball to eyeball, you can. Number 3, his goals went up from 100 million to $1 billion. Nothing wrong with $1 billion goal, but the challenge is the larger the transactions, the more time they take, because he's got cross-border. I mean, he's going to Asia, Europe, fucking South Africa, okay, that takes time. Those take time. I bring this point up for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you've got to set your expectations with your board members. Like the kid says, can you get it done in 2 months? You might as well ask, can you get it done tomorrow, you know? But if you set the expectations when you're recruiting your board, and they think you're going to go out there and you're going to be Captain America, and you're sitting there pulling your pud in the 5th month, they lose confidence in you. And confidence, I mean, gets back to leadership, is what this is all about, controlling your board. Not controlling it in a disingenuous way, but controlling it so you want them to do what you want them to do when you want them to fucking do it, not when they want to fucking do it. I used the analogy during the Battle of the Somme, which is the 100th anniversary was just, and we've got some lieutenant or captain, a British guy with his little swagger stick under his arm and his whistle, and he goes, beep, beep, over the top, boys. And every third guy knows he's going to get his brains blown out, going over the top, but they still go. That's where you want to be. You want to be that little, over the top, boys. You want them to be set up for the right expectations, and the right expectation as soon as humanly possible. To some that's going to mean 3 years, some that's going to mean 5 months, but don't set a time frame when you recruit these guys. Along those same lines, I get asked the question all the time. I get 2 questions I ask. How pushy can you be when you're following up on potential board members? How often can I harass the son of a bitch? How hard can I hound him to get an answer? Conventional wisdom says you give him a week. That's bullshit. If you're going to be a 10-year guy. I've already talked to you about the 10 and 12-year guys, right? I give them 36 to 48 hours. And that's easier to say person to person. It's eyeball to eyeball. That's not as easy to say when you're on a Skype or you're emailing. But the other part of that I get asked is, how do I tell them, when they ask me how much time's involved, because especially in Europe, other than the United States, they want to know, is this a 5-hour-a-week directorship? Is this a 20-hour-a-month? Is this a 10-hour-a-month directorship? Meaning that many hours you're going to put forth to the project. That's really a question that's asked a lot in Europe, not so much in America. In the beginning, your answer is very few hours, probably 5 hours a month, which is true. In the beginning, you're putting all this shit together. But in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th month, you're looking at deals and you're asking somebody to go to the professionals with. You heard him say he goes to the first professional meeting by himself, and then the 2nd meeting for the accountants, he brings his accountant, chief financial officer. To the 2nd meeting with the lawyers, he brings his in-house lawyer with him. And now he's the CEO in his deal. You want the relationship to be, remember I said the most important person in the accounting relationship and in the law relationship is your engagement partner, the person that signs the paper. And if you have a senior engagement partner, he can do more shit for you than a junior engagement partner. So you want that relationship to be one-on-one, and you want that relationship to be solid. Now, he made the point, which we haven't got to this again. If you go into the accountants and you're in an office this big, they think that you're dog shit. They're going through it for perfunctory reasons. They're going going through it for drill, okay? If you're come into a room this big, it sounds braggadocious. When I go to these meetings, which isn't very often, normally it's in the main conference room and there's 10 partners. Because I'm not there to talk bullshit. I'm there to talk fucking business. And like he said, they had a lot of partners, and so that's one rule of thumb benchmark. The next rule of thumb benchmark, if you're in a room like this and there's no partners, as a senior manager, I'd leave, but you need to practice, so don't leave. Don't be so fucking hoity-toity that you get up and leave. You need to practice, but they don't think much of the deal. Or they're practicing just like you're practicing, as I pointed out. Another teaching point from Deb, the guy that was asking the questions. Now guys, I'm not telling you not to ask questions, but normally the guys that ask the most questions do the least. We have statistics on this. Why we're the ones that do the least? Because they're the most insecure, lowest self-esteem, lower self-confidence. We haven't tied it to testosterone levels, but I may do that. We may start making you do a testosterone test and send it before you come to the seminar. So the guy that asked 4 questions, 4 guys, 2 Irishmen. One is about a 6'7", 300-pound Irishman who lives in Singapore, who's a neighbor of his. He now belongs to the Tanlin Club that he alluded to. And the other Irishman is a guy from Dublin, 4th night or the 5th night during the seminar, and both Irish guys like to drink. And the big guy had the little guy on his lap like this, and they were singing like a ventriloquist, like a puppet. And they're singing Irish songs, and then everybody, like I came down, and they're all going, Irish. 100% of the stories about Ireland and Irish are true. They're just true. But the people that ask the most questions are normally, like they asked them twice, what scares them, if you notice. Was the other guy deaf? I still remember, one guy was sitting here, one guy was sitting here. The guy sitting here, were you deaf? Did you listen with the other guy? Because one of the things that does bother the kids is getting out of their comfort zone. They got 60 different ways of asking it, but nobody wants to get out of their comfort zone. When Mike Tyson was at his peak, remember, he couldn't get people to fight him. The minimum was running around, I don't know if this was this was before Rogan Snipes, I believe, but they said $10 million to get in the ring with him. I'll get in the fucking ring with him for $10 million. We'll see just how fucking tough that little shit is. Absence of evidence, but I've been beat pretty good before. I know what it is to be knocked out. I know a bar stool cracked over my head, so that's not such a scare to me, And for $10 million, right here, you got one shot right here, and I'm out. The fight's over. I'd have my accountants in there collecting the money first to make sure the money was there. But right here. But that scares the kids. And believe me, we're going to show you a link later. You want to figure out shit to scare you? I got a link. There's a link now, an app. It's an app, right? An app. And some of the stuff probably nobody in this fucking room is going to do. There's plenty of shit you can do, believe me. Not just going naked on Madison and 54th Street, and going into Starbucks with a diaper on. There are other things. Another teaching point from Deb is it's now a little more than $1 billion he's got, and he's in discussions with all of them. It's now dropped from 9 or 10 companies down to 5 or 6 cross-border things and some other things, but it's tough. But once he hits the cash register, he will instantaneously have generational wealth off one deal. Again, the challenge with the big deals is less of them come through. But Deb, he said, and he's already been a professional for 20 plus years, when you walk in, especially in the tech guys, the guys that are loosey-goosey the way they dress now, and, without a tie, when you walk into these rooms, for those of you that are going off in that arena, they will be, just as he said, blown away. They'll spend the first 5 or 10 minutes apologizing for being underdressed. And then you got them. All we need is a little edge. Then you got them. They're on their back foot, as they say in Britain, off balance. And it works. And then when they see who your chairman is, who your dream team, Jesus Christ, if PwC, second largest accounting firm, is backing this guy, Denton, the largest law firm, is backing this guy, it has tons of credibility. And that's why the system works with no money. Your comments. Yes, sir.
Would you please explain what a senior engagement partner?
Okay, a senior engagement partner, let's take PricewaterhouseCoopers. PricewaterhouseCoopers probably has 3,000 partners worldwide, okay? They've got a board, they've got 10 or 15 senior partners, and then they've got a couple layers of senior partners. But a senior engagement partner is the partner at the firm that you have your relationship with. He's the guy that you pitched from LinkedIn, or he's the guy that you've been turned over to, because you may pitch a guy on LinkedIn that will not be a guy in your area. Let's say you want healthcare, and even though the guy says I'm in IT, healthcare, his real forte is IT, and you want a healthcare. So then he'll turn you to a healthcare guy that's senior. But a senior guy is a guy 10, 20 years a partner, 10, 20 years. He just made partner last week. Now, there's 2 kinds of partners in the big firms now. There's an equity partner, and there's just a partner in name. The equity partners, they're phasing out. So if you get an equity partner, he's a guy that's been there 25, 30, 35 years. The new partners are partners in name. And now, they don't make you a partner, then they make you a director. Well, being a director at PwC, it doesn't mean shit. As It's like a vice president at a bank. They got 8 million of them. So you want a partner, but your team will be an engagement partner, probably 2 senior managers and 1 or 2 junior managers. And they're the grunts. They're the ones that do the real work. But any opinion or anything that you get out of the big firms will have 2 partner reviews. There will be 2 partners. Your engagement partner and 1 other partner will look at it before they stamp PwC on it, I assure you. It's easy peasy. It's easy peasy. But his deal will make the newspapers when it comes to fruition because it's of that nature. And those things he said he was involved in, I don't know any of that. Oh, he described what he did. I'm not familiar with any of those things. I have a vague notion. I think I know what the cloud is. But other than that, but you don't need to know. Now, he does know. And that's why he's going to be his own CEO. So we've seen the first guy, 9-foot Frank, who went through industries that decided the industry was big enough to roll up. Find out it was. We've gone through Deb, who, I mean, you don't have to do any research. And IT is fragmented as hell. He didn't have to do any research. Plus, he's been in the business 20, 25 years. So he knew by definition that his industry was big enough. And plus, he's been doing it, but not for himself. Goodbye, YouTube.